I did what I had to do.
So you want to learn how to meditate like Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch. So I'm going to show you the method that I personally use when doing this. I personally sit in a cross, just like in the film Doctor Strange, the multiverse of madness. This is exactly what you need to do in order to jump from what looks like the neurons, that's the way I'm going to explain it, to jump from neuron to neuron, future to future, to look at your potential realities so that you can live the life of your dreams and live your perfect life. If you don't already follow, make sure you follow. My name's Max, and I help you live your perfect life despite anything you've been through. So in the film, in this scene here, you can see what looks like neurons in a brain, and it looks like different scenes, different potential realities that you could be living. So I'm going to show you how you can do that, what you need to do in order to meditate like these incredible superhumans so that you can change your life. And also, here's a great analogy for life. First, we go from darkness into the light. So this style of meditation is kind of like visualization, but you're also sort of future pacing of what you want to create in your life. So all in all, it's just really a visualization meditation. And the way that I personally do this is very similar. Sitting down, cross-legged, you don't have to do all this type of stuff, what they do in the film. That's kind of irrelevant, that's just for the theatric side of things. But effectively, all you really need to do is just imagine and create a potential reality that you want to be living. Because all potential realities are possible, let's face it, they really are. It just comes down to the things that you start doing today, which dictate how your life is going to play out eventually. I'm not going to go too deep into what is the multiverse theory of just like how many actual realities there are of yours where you can actually quantum leap into a whole new reality. If you want me to make a whole video about that, let me know, put it in the comments, and I can make a video about that. But the main thing is understanding that you can just create in here first, because anything that was created, I'll give an example, an iPhone. The iPhone that was first created was not created first and then imagined. It was imagined first, then created. This camera that I'm recording on was first imagined, then was created. And whether that is drawn out, before it's even drawn out, it's in here first. So before we do anything in the external world, you don't have to do it internally, but it just makes perfect sense. Because what happens when you start to do something in here, you actually fire and wire new neurons and connections in your brain to effectively convince the brain that it's already done it before. Therefore, if you visualize yourself doing something, when you come to do it in the real world, it won't feel as weird and as difficult because you've already kind of done it. You've tricked the brain to believe that it's already been done in here. And that's really the beauty of it. When you do something enough times up here, your body can act out and feel as if it's already done it before. Therefore, it just makes the external world easier for you to work in. I use this all the time, whether that is doing something new in my external reality down to imagining what it will be like to work with clients for the first time. I used to do that, imagining what it will be like to live here in Mexico. I used to do that and now I'm here. And I'm not going to use the term of I just visualized it and then I just appeared in Mexico, because that's not what happened. I visualized it, I created it. I wasn't even planning on it being Mexico. I just wanted to be by the sun, in the sun, by the beach. And it happened to Mexico came up, and it was just the opportunity that I jumped at. It still cost me money, it still cost me time and effort, but the opportunities arise when you create it up here first. Therefore, I reached in and I reached into one of my potential realities, I pulled it towards me, and I started to live that reality. Now, before I even came here, I actually started to do this in the UK. I was already going to the beach all the time. I wasn't really by the sun, but I was going to the beach all the time. I was doing what I needed to do. I was just going, even when it was freezing cold, I'd wear a jumper and a jacket just to show up to the beach because I loved it so much. I love nature, is just so peaceful for me, especially the beach. So I'm gonna show you the method that I personally use when doing this. I personally sit in a cross-legged position. Ideally, I do this on the beach, but it's too loud for me to film on the beach right now. I sit in a cross-legged position. I sit with my spine erect. I sit there, and my first thing that I do is I begin to clear my mind. I sit there and I focus on my breath. I just focus on my breath. And I let go. Now when a thought appears, because they always do, I have two ways of personally letting it go. The first way is imagining like I've got a balloon and I'm letting go of a balloon. Every thought is a balloon. Maybe I'm holding on to hundreds of balloons. Each one I just slowly let go of. Letting go, letting go, letting go. That's one way of letting go of the thoughts. And then the second way that I personally use is imagining like you're taking a dog out for a walk. And when you take a dog out for a walk, it will, especially a puppy, when you take a puppy out for a walk, it will start to just veer off the track, and it will just start to veer off, just wants to smell the bushes, wants to do this, wants to do that. It just starts to go a bit crazy. Imagine your thoughts like that. You're just bringing this puppy back on the road, back on the path. Every time a thought appears, you're just bringing the puppy back to the center. You're just bringing the puppy back to center. Because thoughts are going to appear in your life. They're going to appear especially in meditation because you're not doing anything else other than sitting with your thoughts. So they're going to appear. It's not a bad thing if they do appear, but if you can just catch them, that itself is a win. And the goal isn't to never think a thought straight away, but especially with visualization meditation, because for a visualization meditation, you're actively thinking thoughts, you're actively creating something in here. But the first thing I like to do is just like empty my jar effectively, empty the jar, empty anything that's in there, just to let go of what I need to let go of, focusing on my breath. Letting go of those thoughts. And you can even notice just by breathing that everything starts to slow down immediately. And then once I've done this for about 5 or 10 minutes, then I move on to the visualization. And for me, the visualization really is imagining like you're going from, in that image again, those neurons, they look like neurons, that's the only way I'm going to explain it, those little red dots. You're going from each one, those potential realities that are in the Scarlet Witch when she's meditating, when Doctor Strange is meditating, you're moving all these potential realities around. Now, you can go into a bad reality if you want to. Don't recommend it, and I would never say to do that. I never do that because it's just not something that I want to do. I don't want that to be anywhere in my mind. So what I begin to do is I start to create what it is I want to achieve, who it is I want to become, things I want to do, the way I want to act. And I start to see myself in these potential realities. And I sort of go, and I really, and it's like an energy is just drawing me towards one specifically. Now, each one, I personally believe, for me, and again, this is going to be different for everyone, but for me, the goal is to just feel the emotion of this reality. So for me, if this reality is success, then I'm gonna imagine what it feels like to truly feel successful. If this one is grateful, I'm gonna imagine what it's truly like to be grateful. Because let's face it, everything that we want, we don't currently have. But just because we don't have it in our hands, doesn't mean we can't believe that we have it in our mind, because we can. And the way that we do that is by just imagining it so vividly that our body believes and our brain believes it to be a reality. Now, you may not get this first time every time. You're likely not going to get this first time every time. Even at times, I don't get it every single time. But I tell you what I do, I get it more often than not when I choose when I want to. And I can be interrupted in meditation and still get back to that in a matter of seconds. Because the goal with meditation for me as well is I should be able to be interrupted during the meditation and not be frustrated, because the goal of meditation is to be calm. The goal of meditation is to let go. So if I can be interrupted, something can happen. For example, this morning, I was meditating on the beach and it started to rain during my meditation. And I was about 17 to 20 minutes into my meditation, very specific number, 17. I was about 20 minutes into my meditation and it started to rain, so I got up, I grabbed all my stuff and I stood under a shelter and I just stood there with my eyes open, just meditating again. Didn't frustrate me, didn't annoy me. And then it started to rain a bit more, so I got on my bike and I rode back home and I sat in this exact position and I meditated for another 20 minutes, roughly. Today I just wanted to do some more meditation and I felt like doing it and it felt perfect. So for me specifically, this is my personal, it's very bad acoustic. For me specifically, this is my personal approach to meditation when it comes to visualization meditation. And I love the idea of this with the Doctor Strange and the Wanda or the Scarlet Witch approach, because this was a visual representation of kind of what I do when I jump into new realities and I feel and experience the new reality that I'm not already experiencing. Because let's face it, if you want to live a new reality, you have to be able to find a way to feel it before you actually become it, if that makes sense. Because in order to become whatever you want in life, you have to first imagine what it is like. Anyone that creates anything, whether they say they meditate and visualize or don't, it doesn't matter, because in their mind, they have an image of what they truly believe they can be. And that's all it really takes. You don't have to do meditation, you don't have to do visualization. It just comes down to a belief. But if you're someone like me and you're someone who's always struggled with that naturally, then we have to do more work. That's just the way that it is. And we can either moan, blame and complain about it, or we can do what we can do best for ourselves and best suited to ourselves. And if you haven't already got my 30-day meditation challenge, make sure you click the link here. But other than that, subscribe